I was sitting here thinking about something. Let me tell y'all something. Let me teach y'all something about a little game. When you live in the hood and you can't get out of it, you done elevate. You gotta learn how to reason, or you gotta learn how to communicate with people. Because most people in the hoods don't have seer heart. That's the best place to practice dealing with people with seer hearts. Most people in the hood don't have a seer heart. So you just gotta find a conversation. It ain't meaning nothing though. It ain't even lying either though. It's just like they heart seer, they can't move forward. They ain't gonna understand what you're saying if you talk the way you, because you've been elevating, they haven't. You know. Or sometimes it's just friendly conversation. What you might say you do, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. I was a leader. I had business and all that off of not minimum wage, a little more than minimum wage. I gained. You can't gain all that. You can't gain all that with just when you just work. Like it was a point in my life. It became a point in my life where when I made money, I didn't want to have no street money, and then I wasn't hustling neither. I wasn't selling the cars, I wasn't selling houses, I wasn't doing none of that. And I was just living off of income. And I did that for a long time, at least 5 to 6 years, not 7. And it was just $15 an hour. But I wanted stuff, I wanted businesses and stuff. And I probably had a girl at the same time as well. So I'm trying to take care of everything with this $15 an hour. And I did it. You know, I got me a car, I got her a car. I was able to do stuff for us both. We ate good, shopped good, you know. And I was able to invest in businesses. I was able to get insurance, all off $15, $16 an hour. You know, I don't really tell. I think I told this story on Facebook one time. I wanted to see how it felt to just depend solely on me. You know, one income without doing this and that. Just seeing how. Well, I love the hustle, but you know, it was something going on. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what happened, but something went on to where I had to stay. I had to just depend off of that. I had to just depend off of that income. And I think I was trying to grow this business. But what I'm trying to say is that if you give me your money away and stuff, you wouldn't be able to do all that. My problem is somebody was able to steal my identity, steal my shit, steal my life. Like my auntie, uncle, or somebody had power, whether it was with a Mason group or somebody, and they were bad Masons if they were Mason, and they had power over me somehow. Even if I was working, even if I was taking care of myself, some illegal stuff took place when I was young, and they was able to keep me suspended in a poverty state. And they call it loops. Like the loops is real. Go look it up. I guess you can look it up. I don't know. I heard it from the Astro. They call it loops. And what it does is, like, let's say my job sent me money in the bank or something, in the mail. They got it in cash. They didn't have no problem cashing other people's checks. You know. So somehow stuff would just never go right. You know. But I ain't never I talk to people though. I tell them, you know, they straight or whatever. But I don't hang with people. I don't deal with people. They know that. When you in the hood, that's the way it is. You talk to people. You tell people that you can't say. You want to say the truth. You want to tell them the truth, but it's like pointless. You know, it's hard to explain this, y'all. You can do that if you want to fight all the time. You want drama all the time. If you want And then if you can't just talk to somebody on your level. You can't just say something that's really on your level, but they ain't gonna get it. So, like I said, you just gotta. I hope you never understand this, but you must understand how it feels to be a North Node stuck in a South Node position. You just tell them, hey man, I like to throw hint like earlier when I was talking to my neighbor, I was telling him some stuff I used to do. I just really throwing hints to him like, man, you can do this and do that with your girl. Get out of here, have some fun. That's really what I was doing. It ain't like I'm gonna do it with them, That's how we always talked around here. We don't hang with we more family around here than anything. We don't deal with each other though. We ain't never dealt with each other. We see each other, talk about stuff, sometimes irrelevant stuff. But this is the hood, This is the hood. Now this is the game. This is the streets. You can't take this here or there. When people talk in the street, a lot of times it's in codes. It's just a peace thing. That ain't what you mean. What I'm trying to say is I wouldn't have been able to accomplish all that if I was giving away everything. I don't give away nothing. I ain't never been that nice. I ain't gotta be that nice. I get respect. I can be nice. I'm modest. I be nice because they already know what time it is. Everybody. And they sneaking doing stuff. Ain't nobody doing that in my face. If you sneaking and doing stuff to somebody, you already scared. That's fear right there. If you sneaking around somebody doing all this stuff, that's fear already. If you're a thief, you fear. I know offense to professional thieves out there, but that's what it is. It's a part of fear. So it's just a little. I'm trying to tell it without telling too much. But you can't read. I know y'all got microphone and all that out here, but that's the way you just keep the peace. Because a lot of y'all got drama. You got drama because you keep being open to people. If they got a seer heart, you get what I'm saying? You ain't no different. If you don't have a seer heart, and people got a seer heart, you ain't no different if you keep trying to force them to elevate or get them out of a situation. Every now and again, okay, but just always trying to get a point, that's a waste that's casting pearls to swine. So you got to understand the way the Bible teaches us, man. It's two ways. The tongue is a double-edged sword. It always cuts twice, always. So you just got to understand that. I would love to be able to go out with my people around here and have a good time with them, but hell, I already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I go up to them and I ask for stuff and expect for them to admit it. But if they won't admit it, then there's no point in me to persist on telling them, well, this, that's a waste of time. Don't even worry about all that. Because they're not going to admit it, they still with the program, they still with their group. And if you start to tell stuff, like the stories I tell is stories I already told online. I don't tell them nothing else. I tell them the same shit. It's the way you live. This is the way you gotta survive out here. You don't want nobody to know nothing. I tell them this and that. Now, it done got to the point, though, I tell somebody, yeah, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna do this together, and we're gonna do this, and I get in a position. And they'll be like, man, I thought you said we were gonna do this. And I have to tell them then, well, I ain't finna do that with you because you do this, and this. And if you stop doing this, then we can do that. Otherwise, I ain't finna do that with you. You see what I'm saying? You gotta wait till the moment present itself. You know what I'm saying? You can't just tell a person, it look good for a movie, but it's irrelevant, y'all. It's irrelevant. I'm trying to teach y'all how to get the drama out of your life and put peace back into your life. You can't just come out here, that's why it ain't good to gossip in the house with your families and stuff. Because you don't know what the real deal is if you don't understand human beings the way they function. Humans and demons and angels are three different parties. You gotta act, you gotta know them and notice them, and you gotta react to them a certain way. You gotta tell, in the streets most of the time, you just gotta tell people what you want them to know. And it ain't never, it's gonna probably sound more sincere, it's gonna probably sound good, it might sound peaceful, it might sound lame, it might sound anything. But you wait for that to come back around, Now, if you go up to a party, and that person, if you ask that person something, and if they admit to it, then you can take it to another level with that person, and y'all can get right. Whether you get down or you just get down, you just let it go. You find a peace and balance in it. Otherwise, if they gonna continue to lie, I don't give nothing to nobody. I ain't never gave nothing to nobody. I was giving to my family too much. And that was people close to me, my sisters. And I wasn't even giving to them. I wasn't giving. The people I gave to the most was kids who had nothing. Kids who were pretty much abandoned by their parents. That's who I gave to too much to. And that left me in a bad situation. I won't do that again. Because the kids and everybody turned on me. You know what I'm saying? I took them kids pretty much out the streets and into schools and shit and colleges. Redirected their focus. That tore me apart. Financially, that almost tore me apart. Because I didn't have it to give it. But I would do it anyway, just because I didn't want to see the kids out on the street and doing that. Some of these kids were really going down the road of self-destruction to the point where they wanted to harm their own parents. So I would take them in and deal with them accordingly, and that would break me down. And God broke me from that. I ain't doing a lot of stuff no more, but that was the only thing that got me down and broke me down, But so far as hanging out and wanting to do things with people, it'll be good, but I ain't never done that. I ain't never had nobody to do that with. I always did that only with my women. I only hang with my women to deal with my women. The only time I dealt with people is in my businesses. When I was doing my studio stuff. Then I dealt with a lot of people. They'll tell you. Did nobody come around me if it wasn't my producer at the time? Some people who was really close in the business perspective, in the business world with me, they wasn't coming around me like that. In other words, it was just me and my girl, And normally when the other people came around, it was appointed. I don't play that. I don't hang out. I don't give nothing to nobody. But I'm trying to tell y'all how it is in these streets too. If you want to keep the peace, you just bring up a conversation that's typical. It ain't nothing serious. Even though you know that person done something, if you ain't got no proof, even if you like me, even if you're a conduit, and you feel like you got the proof, you still can't use that in court. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta have evidence. And if you ain't got no evidence, you can't just keep sucker punching people. You can't do that. Don't do that, because then they gonna know you out there. You giving yourself away when you do that. So if they gonna play dumb, you gotta play dumb. Basically, you ain't gotta play dumb, but you gotta be smart about it. If they gonna play dumb, you gonna have to be smart about it, because you don't know what they got going on. Some situations for people, it's so discouraging to get out of. Like this situation that I'm in, a lot of people who are affiliated in it, they hate it, they did it now, but don't nobody want to own up to this. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Don't nobody want to own up to this. They rather keep living until they die in it, probably, I guess. I don't know. But the best thing would be is to own up to it. But it's hard. They gotta build themselves up. Some situations you have to build yourself up to say, especially a person like me come up to you, because they know me around here. If I come up to you and ask you something, they already probably feel in their head it's gonna go one or two ways. You know what I'm saying? So to keep the smoke down, they probably feel like, well, I'm gonna just ignore it for now, or I tell them later, and get myself out of the situation, and then, because it'll probably come back around again, and then I'll be truthful about it, because this stuff is that deep. You know what I'm saying? And people gotta back out of it before they give me an answer, because they still in it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the way that is, y'all. So I know y'all got the camera. Don't even try it, because they know me. They think they know me, and some of these people just fear. I ain't saying it is fear, but some people it's a different vibe, because I earned my them doppelgangers y'all got ain't me. They probably stole my identity, stole my energy, stole my my history, and made it theirs, but they didn't do that. I built that. In other words, let me give you an example. If you grow up fighting in elementary school, street fighting is just as good as martial arts now if you really doing it. Because it's like you fighting all the time. You know, martial arts most of the time is shadow boxing and this and that. or you know, you sparring. Street fights, it's a whole different war. It's different. It's a different ball game. And if you're doing that just as much as somebody sparring and shadow boxing, you're gonna build a reputation in a whole different way. So if you've been fighting since elementary, you've been going at it since elementary, and you know that's why I tell y'all watch that James Brown movie. 'Cause that's the way we move when we fight. Now that's they nailed that part. The way James Brown fight on them, they nailed that. They nailed that. But that's how it is. That's street fighting right there. If you grow up fighting in street fighting, then junior high you fighting. By the time you get in high school, ain't nobody bothering you no more. Leave high school and go to the street, ain't nobody street to street. Ain't nobody, but you done built a name, bro. If they might not even know much about you, but they know enough to like, don't bother that dude. If you go up to him now, if you go up to him, you know, they gonna tell you like, I heard it, you go up to him now, you know. So, you know, that's how it is. It's just like prison. Prisoner know what I'm talking about. When you done been like that, you can't just, people already feel a certain way around you. So you gotta humble yourself. You have to humble yourself. Yeah, I know a lot of people, cocky people and rappers always say, I ain't gonna do that, and you'll end up in prison and 6 feet deep too. Cause a bunch of people ain't gonna just stay scared of you. You ain't gonna just keep bullying folk. So you gotta humble yourself. You can't beat the world. You know, you get older. You can't beat the world. So that's pretty much how that go right there. You know, you can't beat the world. You got, and it's beautiful to humble yourself because you already made a name. You already humble. You already respect yourself. Ain't nothing too nice about me. It is. The problem is though, I swap energies when I go to the city. I switch when I go places because I'm no longer home. I don't know how I got that. Guy got, it must be a gift or something. But when I'm home, I'm more humble. I'm like that everywhere, but when I'm out, if I don't know you, nah, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother ball game, bro. If I don't know you, I ain't gonna, it don't work that way. That's a whole nother ball game. But see, right here, it's like, I've been getting attacked by people who always been attacking me. I done checked them, done fought with them. They still attack. Their heart seared. They can't help it. Unless you're going to go ahead and do the Steven Seagal on their ass and get rid of them. I ain't finna, you know, they old. And it ain't even worth it. At this point, what? Put it like this. I know the program. I know how the program work at this point. If I did snap, that's what they want. That's why they keep it like this. And it's dead. It's like they waiting on me to snap, and I'm waiting on them to do the right thing. See what I'm saying? If I snap, I'm going to prison. Period. I'm going to prison. Because they waiting on it. They looking for it. The people around here, the community people, everybody looking for it, waiting on it. They going to call it out. Everybody going to call it out at the same time. In the hood. You know, sacrifice time. We got his ass. I ain't falling for that. I done went to jail too many times. I ain't doing that. I learned my lesson about that shit. I ain't doing that. So, and like I said, they waiting, and you waiting. You know, you waiting on them to do the right thing. So it's like, when it's like that, the energy become dense. The energy become pale. And nothing right, bro, because they holding on to stolen goods, and it's your good. All they gotta do is give it to you. If they gave it to you, you'll give them something for giving it to you. They ain't thinking like that though, because their heart seared. See, when your heart seared, you don't think about the relevance though. You don't think about the good that could come into fruition. Your soul gone. You just like, I'm gonna keep this. He ain't never gonna get it. No, they start even acting crazy, bro. Like, if I was a judge and I got these people in the office, and I told these people, because they done been doing it so long, you gotta give it back. I can already see how they act. I ain't getting it. Grown as hell now. Grown as hell, probably ain't done killed everybody. Act like a baby, act like something wrong with them, bro. That's when you notice that IQ ain't right. And they done been doing it for so long. They heart seared. That's a seared heart. They act like baby, 78 years old, 80 years old, 60-something years old, 50-something years old. I ain't getting up. I don't mess with them, y'all. I'm in good shape. You know what I'm saying? I feel good. and I look good, I'm blessed. You know, I ain't worried about it. God got to take care. I can just tell by the way I feel and the way I look, God taking care of it. You just look at some of these people. Some of these people taking on more than they can bargain. Some of these people got to understand what sin and karma look like. You might not used to do drugs. You might not used to drink. You might not used to have STDs. You might not used to have none of this stuff. But now you got all this stuff coming on to you. Now you getting in debt. Now you have an issue with your lover and stuff like that. You didn't have it before. Now you got problems with your mind. You know, now you got situations. Now you in problems that you never had. Now you have problems that you never had in your whole life. See, you gotta see. That's your third eye right there. So you see with your third eye, you see God working on them. So you don't have to put no energy in. My job is to just let you know I know what you're doing. This is your warning. No matter how you tell it to that person, you can tell it to them sweet as heart, good as heart in the world, or you can tell it to them aggressive. Either way it go, that person know you know. And if they gonna keep going down that path, they gonna know you gonna switch gears on them. Cause see, here's the trick of it. If they come up to you nice or mean, it don't matter. They was brave enough to come up to you. That's your warning. That's all you need to know. You had to go behind their back and do all of this. They only heard something one time and came to your face that same as soon as they heard it. That's your fair warning. And that's how we keep the peace in the hood, y'all. In the street. It sound like it's some beats. You know how y'all be saying, but it ain't. Trust me. Cause you will get, cause you being monitored. It was a setup from the start. You're stuck in a program. If you put your hands on these people, if you go to that second gear first, you probably going to prison. You probably going to prison. Because you might just slap them. They're going to hit you with so many charges in there, you're going to feel like you murdered them. Because you was a sacrifice. And they're going to legally be able to do it somehow. So you got to move different. That's just the way it is when you trap and they done buried you like this, y'all. I'm buried. They put me in a dome, they put me in a box, put me in a dome, then they buried me. So you can't just look on the scope and find me. You can't look on the GPS and find me because they buried me. You get what I'm saying?